hasn't joined the Progressive Caucus.
No, I remember
so.
he said he didn't want to do that. No, his endorsement of Biden meant that he's firmly in the Clintonian and Obama, I suppose he would say Obama camp.
Yeah.
But that he didn't have any apology to the many, many people in his district that were clearly for Bernie. Oh, well. Listen, shoot, I'm going to have to attend to the thing I need to attend to since I don't, yeah. But I'm
back at 8:30?
Well, or I left my number with Mike Fowler to text me if it happens soon.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Thanks, guys. Okay.
See you later.
Okay.
Who hasn't turned off their radio or TV or something? Hear you? Am I the only one that's hearing that?
No, I hear it.
I hear it too.
The way to solve that is just simply to everybody mute themselves if they're not speaking.
We don't have anything on, do we?
No.
Is it off? Good.
I hear it again.
I'm wondering if we could mute everyone and then just unmute them one at a time.
I thought we did that.
Yeah, in fact, we can do that, but people have to unmute themselves when they're called on.
Okay.
So here I go, I'm muting everybody.
I don't hear it now. I think it's okay now.
Yeah, but that's because.
Oh, no, it's starting. It might be some.
Okay, you need to unmute yourself if you're going to talk.
All right, I don't hear it. Shall we get started?
Yes, I'm sorry about that.
I'm still hearing it.
Just like the classroom, so I have a lot of patience for that. Like I said, I'm doing this because I want to strengthen public education.
Is somebody on the phone?
Communication within the district and between Chula Vista Elementary and Sweetwater Union High School District.
Yeah, Mike muted himself and it went away. It's gone. I don't hear it now. So.
Yeah, what you heard was the other meeting that I have on my other computer.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Now and just kind of be quiet.
Oh, okay.
But start your meeting.
All right.
Gentlemen, start your engines. Or start your meeting, I guess. All right, well, welcome everyone. It's good to see you all. Hope we may get a few more for the question period when Angelica arrives. And just want to start out by hoping that you're all healthy and you're COVID-free. Cases are spiking. I think they opened up way too soon.
Yeah.
Anyway, as you know, we're going to be voting on the endorsement. It's going to be, we'll go through the process a little bit later on. But as I mentioned earlier, Angelica has another engagement, so hopefully she'll be here no later than 8:30 and get some questions in for her. Okay. Now, let me see. So I just want to make a little pitch as I normally do, you know, especially now that we're not able to collect money for our local chapter since we're doing this all electronically. If you haven't signed up for a sustaining donation with PDA, it would be great if you could sign up and give whatever you can on a monthly basis. You know, PDA is just doing a lot of good things, but as I've said before, it takes money. So they've got to pay the staff who are probably underpaid and definitely overworked from what I can see. So that's the pitch on that. And next thing, I don't have anything on the issues-oriented team calls, but if Mark is still here, maybe if have you been on Dr. Bill's calls, Mark? Have you still been doing those? Mark, can you hear me?
Okay, yes, I can hear you. I was on the last Dr. Bill one when they were talking to, hold on, I'll come up with his name.
Well, they had Nader on one of them.
Yeah, Nader and this fellow that's running against Cory Booker. His last name is Ham.
Oh, yeah.
And he was on, and he spoke like a real progressive. I know that I think PDA National has endorsed him against Cory Booker, if I'm not mistaken. Am I wrong about that, Mike?
I don't know. I think so, because I've seen his name. So I think that he's one of PDA's endorsed candidates. Do you know, Teresa?
I do not.
Yeah, okay. Anyway.
But Nader, I thought Nader was amazingly eloquent, just talking about the stupidity of the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
And how, hopefully they won't snatch defeat from the jaws of victory by not putting out a progressive message that's going to turn out people that were Bernie supporters.
Yeah, yeah. So, so did they talk about the status of HR 1384 or HR 6906, how it's moving along? Or do they just have the speakers?
Primarily, it was the speakers. There was some introductory stuff that Alan Minsky did, I think, and Alan Minsky, I think, introduced the guests as well. But
Right.
Basically, the talk, when they talk about Medicare for all, it's not the Senate bill from Bernie. It's Jayapal's.
Yeah.
Because I think they think that that's a better deal.
Yeah. Well, also it's in the House, and the Democrats have a majority in the House.
Right.
And the minority in the Senate. So that could be part.
Bernie weakened it to get Senate support from people like Kamala Harris.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, but as far as the other IoT calls, I don't think we have anyone that's been on them. I'm not even sure which ones are continuing. So anyway, well, in that case, we can move on to the Educate Congress letters for this last month, or for this month. No, for last month, I guess. This month is still coming up. Do you know if anyone delivered to Cárdenas June's Educate Congress letter?
I did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I sent the last one, just only by email.
Yeah.
And I didn't do Mike Fox's secondary, email and then calling the office and saying,
Right.
By the way, did you get my email? Because I've done that before, and they said, oh, well, we need to get back to you on that.
Right.
And then they never do. So I just figured, and that's my fault too. So maybe I should just do that every time and just make note of it. But was it on our last meeting online? Somebody said that they knew somebody who was a relative of Tony Cárdenas, and he said that's his modus operandi. He hides and isn't ever available to really speak to anybody. And so I guess it all goes through through whatever you managed to get from a field rep.
Yeah. Did you ever have to call the district director, Gabriela Marquez?
You know, Mike Fox told me to try to set up a conference call between, who is the team going to be? Me and Dr. Bill and Russell Green and the district director, as
Yeah.
well as a field op. And maybe by going that three-way, we could actually get in touch with Tony Cárdenas himself.
Yeah.
And it just kind of all fell through. I tried calling Michelle Varga, and she never returned my call. They all have the same 202 number, and you
Right.
just kind of leave a message and
Yeah.
then just hang up the phone and then expect
Yeah.
never to hear back.
Yeah. I was just curious because my initial contact was with Jasmine Rosales, who I guess is a receptionist, and she, it's a big mix-up in getting the questionnaire. There was miscommunication between Jasmine and myself. But anyway, I finally got the questionnaire to Gabriella, who was the district director, and she's the person I called a couple of times and sent emails to, and she never responded. So that's why I said I got similar response to what you guys get when you drop the letters. Anyway, when you drop the letter, I don't know whether you know or not, but Cárdenas actually signed up signed up as a co-sponsor on one of the pieces of on the resolution. There's HRes 988, which condemns all acts of police brutality and racial profiling and the use of excess and militarized force. And him and Sherman are both signed on to that one, so that's a good thing. They signed on as co-sponsors.
What's the number of it again? HR
HRes 988 is a resolution.
I-98?
988,
988.
yeah. So the other bills that we asked them to co-sponsor on the letter drop in June, for the June letter drop, I emailed it to John Alford at Sherman's office, and then I followed up with a phone call to make sure he got it. And I was a little lax, in getting back on him to follow up on it, but I may try to do that to see where he's at on that. Uh-oh, I just screwed up my Zoom. Hold on one second. Hey. Shoot. Oh, man.
Did you lose it? We can see you and everything.
Yeah, I forget how to get back to the screen that I was on.
I've had that problem too.
Pardon?
I've had that problem too.
Yeah.
Try the little movie camera.
All right, let me see here. This may do it. No?
Yeah, tonight I was trying 2 different browsers and it
Yeah.
just made everything slower getting on.
Shoot. I usually figure it out.
Do you not see the Zoom meeting window?
I see a big Zoom and I see the speaker, I'm on speaker view, and I can't figure out how to change it back to
Gallery?
yeah. All right, just one second here. Let's close this.
On the top right-hand corner.
Yeah, I just hit the expand button up there.
Oh, it should say gallery view. Top right-hand
Yeah, I
corner.
know. I don't see the gallery view sign there for some reason.
Oh, just click on the speaker view thing and it should go to gallery view.
Well, it doesn't say speaker view. I just see the speaker now.
Oh,
No.
interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. I just switched from gallery view to speaker view. Do you see something that looks like, you know, besides the full screen thing in the very top right, to the left of that is something that looks like a Rubik's Cube? And that should say gallery view.
When you touch it.
Yeah. And then when you click on that,
The very top, it's like a box. And when you touch it, it says gallery view or speaker view, depending on what you're in.
Well, I don't see it. Somehow I must have, and I minimize, oh, here we go. Now I
I
got
lost
this.
mine too for a while.
Okay, so now, I'm really sorry about this, guys.
But you can always see who's on by clicking the blue arrow and see who all the participants are.
I've never had this. Let's see, is it? Well, oh, this is really annoying.
Michael, this is Kerry.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we have another call I have to be on. So I want to say good night and hope everything works.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Gary and Alyssa.
thanks.
Guys,
Thank you for holding the meeting.
be well.
You
And
too.
don't kiss no viruses.
All right, I'm back. I got it. I figured out what I did wrong. I mean, I didn't figure out what I did wrong, but I got it back to where I wanted. So anyway, yeah. So anyway, we're back to finishing up on the letter drops. I did email it to John, and the other bill, the other bills are HR 6906, which is the Healthcare Emergency Guarantee Act, and there's finally some text to that. This is the third time, you know, I presented it to Sherman, and I couldn't blame him for not really wanting. I tried to get him to call Jayapal to give input on the text of it and to sign on as the original co-sponsor. He still hasn't done that, but maybe now that there's a text, we can get him on it. So that was one of them. Then the other one was also, this was the third time, is HR 92, which is the Vote by Mail Act. So Cárdenas is not on that one, and Sherman is not on that one, and neither is Cárdenas. And on HR 92, that's the one where they want to allow states to do vote by mail with no conditions other than a time, by making sure that they're out about the time that they get it out to the voters, which I think can be no later than 2 weeks, if I'm remembering correctly. And let's see, not explaining that too well. Let me check my notes here.
Who is that woman?
Yeah, and then it also will authorize automatic voter registration of individuals through the DMV. And it requires the states to allow voting in federal elections by mail without additional conditions or requirements, except the deadline for going to ballots. And they must mail the ballots to individuals registered to vote in a federal election not later than 2 weeks before the election. And and this is important, the US Postal Service must deliver the ballots. And that's a way of, you know, countering the attack on the post office if we require that the post office has to deliver the ballots. And then HR 6906 is a bill that will empower Medicare to pay all out-of-pocket medical costs, including prescription drugs, during the pandemic, which, if they get that one passed, they're going to be paying for a long time, it seems like, because we don't seem to be flattening the curve. We just seem to be going in the wrong direction on that. So anyway, that's what the letter drop bills were. And there's other legislation that has either been or has not been subject of letter drops that PDA is sponsoring. And Teresa, you were going to talk about, I think, the HEROES Act and student debt forgiveness and possibly Black Lives Matter and police reform.
Yeah, I didn't get to do the student debt forgiveness. I'm trying to fill out unemployment, and it's unbelievably long.
Yeah.
You have to tell them how much you made every quarter. It's just ridiculous. So I spent most of the day on that. But I did do some research on the police reform bills. So you're probably aware that the House passed in May a police reform bill, which forbid the choking, the chokehold, and no-knock warrants for drug possession or drug deals. And there was a lot of protections in there, and that was mostly put through with Karen Bass. And then the Senate had two different bills going. They had one Kamala Harris and Cory Booker had, and then on the Republican side, it was led by Timothy Scott. The Democrats felt that the Republican bill was way too lax. It was mostly commissions to study all this stuff rather than to stop it. But there were a couple of good things in his bills, the GOP bill, that were pretty strong. And I just read that they've now begun talking again. So that's a good thing. So Timothy Scott is talking with Karen Bass, and they're trying to get something passed and try to compromise and do that. The Republicans are against, I forgot the name of, hang on. Got different screens up. Immunity. They're
Qualified
against,
immunity.
sorry?
Qualified immunity.
Qualified immunity, that's what I was looking for. And, but they're willing to have certain things where the city will pay or something like that. So there may be some compromises there. So anyway, so we'll see what happens, but it's good that they're talking, because once the two houses pass the bill, then they have to go back and compromise and get something passed. So the House will push it to be stronger, and the Senate will probably push it to be weaker, but hopefully we'll get something done. So
Well, does that mean they're eliminating, they're not going to do anything with the Booker-Harris bill, or?
Well, the thing I read just said he was talking to Karen Bass.
Right.
So
Scott was, or Booker was?
Scott was.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. The Democrats not only didn't like the bill, but they didn't like the fact that they weren't included in it.
Yeah.
So the Republicans made up one bill, and then the Democrats made up another different bill, and they didn't have a conference. That was part of the problem also.
They couldn't even reconcile in the Senate.
Yeah. Okay, and then let's see, what was the other one? Oh, the HEROES Act. So that was passed in the House. I'm sorry, that's the one that was passed in May. I'm not sure when the other one was passed. And it's, again, the Democrats passed that. It's to give checks again for stimulus for $1,200 each. It's $1,200 each adult and child with a limit of $6,000 per family. Donald Trump actually wants more of a stimulus package, probably because his election's on the line. And McConnell wants to make it only for those making $40,000 or less. The Dems want $75,000 or less for the stimulus checks to go out. So also the increased unemployment benefits, those end at the end of July, as well as rent forgive, or there's a mortgage for postponement that ends at the end of July. There's several different things that end. And I heard Brad Sherman talk this week, and he's thinking that they're going to come up with something by the end of July, because the red states now have coronavirus. And so they're hearing from their constituents that they want something passed. So hopefully they'll be able to make a deal, but he doesn't think they'll be able to. They're only going to get like one package through, at least for the next couple of months.
Is that HR 6800, the HEROES Act?
I don't have the number.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, I think that's what it is. But it just passed the House. It didn't pass the Senate then, right?
Correct. It's sitting on McConnell's desk since May.
Do nothing Senate, yeah.
He said at first he wasn't going to pass anything. And there's also money in it to go to the cities and the counties. I heard an interesting thing. I'm trying to think who said it. They were talking about how the Democrats wanted to defund the police. Well, it's actually the GOP that's defunding the police, because they're not bailing out the cities and the counties who are paying for the police. So most of the cities and counties are going to have to lay off a bunch of people, and if they don't pass something similar to the HEROES Act, which will bail out the cities and the counties and the states. So if someone says the Democrats wanted to fund the police, so do the Republicans. That's all I got.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to mention a couple other actions, bills. I think we've talked about HR 6139 previously. That was another bill that was on one of the letter drops, which actually Sherman has co-sponsored. And that's the one where let's see, it's the Department of Labor, they want the Department of Labor to promulgate both emergency and long-term occupational safety and health regulations and standards to protect the healthcare workers. And, it's unfortunate that we get these bills in the House, and it's tough enough to get them passed in the House. And even if you get them passed in the House, there's not much chance of passing in the Senate. And I alluded to it briefly. I mean, I think the states opened up too soon, including California. Then we had the protests on top of that, and things are surging again. And they keep talking about that this is the second wave, but this is really part of the first wave. The first wave never really ended, so it makes it even more important to get protection for our healthcare workers, because we're kind of back to where we were back in April, I think, in a lot of places.
I do want to mention that I've heard that there really doesn't seem to be a connection with the protests and the rise in infections.
Really?
Most of the protesters were wearing masks. They were outdoors, and they've asked people, were they protesting? And so they've kind of kept track of it, and it doesn't seem to be related. But Oklahoma, where the Tulsa rally was for Trump, they're finding
Right,
cases.
yeah. Yeah, I heard that.
But yeah.
Okay. So I'm wondering, I was just thinking about this, you know, the Dr. Bill, and Mark knows this, and if you've been watching the emails from PDA, has really been pushing HR 6906, which is the one where, you know, they want Medicare to pay for all out-of-pocket medical costs. So if you don't have insurance, you get full coverage. If you do have insurance, it'll pay your co-pays, and no one will be out of pocket for medical costs during the pandemic. And they have a text now. I'm wondering if you think it might be a good idea if maybe we should call Sherman's office and ask to support that in HR 92, which is the Vote by Mail Act. So maybe we can, you know, you can all do that and say that you support, again, HR 92 and HR, what did I just say? HR 6906. And maybe we can put some pressure on him to sign on as a co-sponsor on those. In addition to the legislation, excuse me, there were a couple resolutions that that PDA has asked people to sign on to. And I think Teresa posted the Medicare for All resolution. I posted the climate emergency resolution. And Teresa, do you want to talk a little bit about the Medicare for All? I guess it's actually a petition.
Right. What's going on is the Bernie people are trying to get more influence in the convention, and they're pushing for Medicare for All and a Green New Deal. And so they're trying to get the delegates to support that. So it's going to the DNC and just saying, we need to put this on the platform. I think at this point, with all the problems with the coronavirus, the healthcare inequality with blacks versus whites, I mean, the system we have just doesn't work. I've been unemployed off and on for the last few months, and even when I'm employed, I don't have health insurance. I have to get it through online through Obamacare. So yeah, the system just is not good. So anyway, they're pushing for Medicare for All, and that would bring down the cost of Medicare because of the insurance, because we wouldn't have people advertising and the people in the middle getting all their costs extracted. The doctors wouldn't have to fool around with billing, you know, pushing the insurance, hiring all these people to pay different parts of the bills. So anyway, it just makes a lot of sense. So I don't know if you all know, we have a Facebook page, and that is posted there.
Yeah, and are you done?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. So the other resolution, you know, because, you know, we've kind of been saying from the, you know, the beginning that the two most important domestic issues right now are Medicare for All and the climate emergency. And, you know, as you all know, PDA has been at the forefront on the fight for both Medicare for All and developing a strong plan for addressing the climate emergency. And, you know, I know it's kind of old news now, but on the last platform, you know, Russell Green was part of the platform committee on environment and the climate, and he helped develop the platform blank, which called for a 10-year plan within 100 days of the new administration in anticipation of Hillary winning. And of course, we know how that happened. But the point is that, you know, PDA has been fighting the fight on these, you know, for a long time now. And Medicare for All does seem to be getting a lot of traction. Not sure about the Green New Deal and the climate emergency stuff, but the climate resolution is part of the strategy now. Since Bernie didn't get the nomination, one part of it is to get him 25% of the delegates, because hopefully that will give his supporters more influence on the platform. And then they've also got these two petitions or resolutions going out. The climate emergency, which Teresa and I signed PDA San Fernando Valley onto it. And what it says is that, Biden's plan for the climate emergency is not very strong. And apparently the Environmental and Climate Committee for the Democratic Party came up with a much stronger plan. And so this petition is calling for the Democratic Party to adopt that stronger plan as part of the platform, as opposed to Biden's weaker plan. So I posted that on a number of group Facebook pages, including PDA San Fernando Valley. So when you click on it, you've got to kind of look to where you sign on to it, but you can sign on as an individual. And Teresa and I both signed on as individuals, and then we signed on behalf of PDA San Fernando Valley. And apparently there's a little competition going between Sunrise and PDA to see who could get the most supporters to sign on to it. So that would help that cause also. But of course, the important thing is we want to get started on doing something meaningful on the climate emergency, or at least getting it in the platform so that it's in the consciousness of the Democratic Party. And if we do win the election or take back Congress or both, we've got that narrative in there. So if you can check like Teresa said, if you can check the Facebook page and sign on to those, that would.
And if you're still on Facebook, if you go to search, it's PDA San Fernando Valley. And if you hit like, then you'll see more of the posts come up.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So I'm kind of running out of stuff. That brings me down to PDA-CA, and we are still working on developing an advisory board. We have a leadership team that consists of the 5 board members, a couple consultants that are also part of PDA, Russell Green and Dr. Bill, and then other activists or chapter leaders for PDA-CA are also on it. And one of the things that we're doing is trying to get, an advisory board, like a lot of organizations do, where they get renowned people to serve on the board as honorary board, directors of the board, who don't necessarily take an active part, but not only do they lend their name, but when we work on a particular issue, we can seek their advice and form coalitions with their group if they're head of a group, or just with them if they're a legislator, or whatever their particular area of interest is. So for example, we're just now talking to people and seeing if they're interested, and we're not sure, who's going to end up on it. But, for example, if one of our issues is clean money, a natural ally would be the Clean Money Campaign. It would be good to have Trent Lang on as on our advisory board, and then the two groups could communicate a little bit more closely on legislation regarding, disclosure and clean money and that type of thing. So that's one of the things that we're working on. We have an action committee. Right now, we don't have any particular actions that we're working on because we're all time limited, and we're trying to get a committee that's separate from the officers that can actually work on it. So if any of you are interested in joining, send me an email and I'll connect you up with the board. And another thing is we have a communications director who is also working on our website, but like everyone else, he's time limited and he can't always get to the blast that we want to get out or get the website fixed up to the way we want it as quickly as we would like. So we're kind of informally looking around to anyone that has social media skills and website development skills that might be interested in helping out on that. So if any of you have those skills and are interested, again, send me an email and I'll connect you up. Or if you know of anyone that might be interested, let us know. Because we're still, a developing organization and we can use the help if we can get it. So that's where we're at on PDA-CA. And another thing is, I don't know, Teresa and I were talking and we're not too familiar with state legislation that's going on right now. So I don't know if any of you have any idea of what's going on with the state, or are things kind of shut down because of COVID-19, or does anyone have any idea about that at all?
Well, I know that I think Autumn Burke came down with COVID, and I forgot if it was Assembly or the Senate. They're doing a recess because apparently there's a couple of other people who have come down with it.
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to push their date when they meet up again out.
Have they been doing live sessions?
Apparently they did some, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, maybe they'll at least get set up now to do Zoom sessions.
It might not be in the Constitution.
Well, okay, it could be. Yeah.
I'm not sure how it's going to work in this COVID.
Yeah, hi Dan, how are you?
Very
Yeah.
good, thanks.
Good.
I know that regarding state legislation, I know that SB 899 about affordable housing is really urgent right now. I'm chair of Interfaith Solidarity Network, which is in the San Fernando Valley. So we're particularly interested in this bill because it's going to facilitate the building of affordable housing and supportive housing for people experiencing homelessness on the property of faith communities. Faith communities, churches, synagogues, mosques, and many of these places have a lot of unused land. And it's been incredibly difficult to try to work with the zoning laws and all of that for these different places who want to build affordable housing, but the regulations just completely hamstring them and prohibit them. SB 899, it passed the state Senate, but the bill heads to the Assembly pretty soon. So the push is to try to get religious institutions to support it, and we're working on that. But everybody needs to be supporting it. I mean, because this is a way. This is a way to get access to land. One of the most difficult things about building supportive housing or affordable housing is access to land. There's not enough land to build on. So here's a way to find a new resource, a new source of land to be able to do that. So I can forward that information to you if you like.
If you could.
Interfaith Solidarity Network is doing a push on it right now, and I think the deadline is actually tomorrow to make contact with your legislators, but it's, you know, it's pretty much a click, you know, a click of a link and you can make contact. So I can forward that if you like, and you can do with it what you will. But, you know, tomorrow is, if people have time tomorrow to make contact and
Yeah.
advocate for that, that would be great.
Yeah, well, why don't you say that it is kind of short notice? I'm sorry, Teresa, I interrupted.
Sure.
I
No,
was
I
just gonna
understand.
say, what's your website? Can we,
We're in the process of rebuilding our website, so I'm not going to give you our website,
Facebook?
but I can put the Facebook link in the chat.
Can you put it on our PDA San Fernando Valley Facebook? The chat disappears afterwards, so it's,
Sure, I can do that. I
yeah.
can do that.
Yeah, if you do that tonight, then
I'll
people
do it
can
tonight.
Do that tonight or
For sure.
tomorrow.
And I'll put the information about the bill and as much as I can, including the links on there. Is
Do
that,
you want him to send the information to you, Teresa?
Sorry?
You want him to also send you the information?
That'd be fine, but it's going to be hard to get it out by
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Right.
So,
right, of course.
so it'd be better if people go to the Facebook page.
Sure.
Daniel, is there money in the bill, or is just changing the regulations, or?
You know, what I've read about it, I don't see money in the bill. You know, simply because this is about building affordable homes on land that is already owned by the religious institution. And it all depends on how they want to develop that. If they're going to develop that themselves, then they're going to spend the money. There is money available if we're talking about the city of Los Angeles or the county of Los Angeles. There's money available to help support that building. But I don't specifically know about any money that's being, what I've read about the bill doesn't talk about allocating money for the bill. This is just really about clearing the way so that to make it much, much easier to build affordable housing.
Now,
But I'll
is it,
send you the information and, you know, see what you think.
were you saying that is all space for affordable housing, or just space, extra space at religious institutions?
This is on land of religious institutions.
Okay. Okay. What you're saying is if they're not planning on developing it, maybe they'd be okay with affordable housing there.
Oh, no, well, yeah, I mean, the idea, you know, not everybody is into this across the board in faith communities, but I know from experience with the mayor's office and everything, we were always trying to get this done and to encourage faith communities to get involved. And now finally, there's a bill that is going to clear the way for that. So, you know, I think I'm not exactly sure what it all entails.
Yeah.
I just know that it does clear the way. If it means that the faith community itself can earn an income with this, then that's going to make it even more attractive for them to be able to build supportive housing. It all depends on what the terms are of the arrangement with it. If it's purely given over to a developer with the commitment to build affordable housing, and we know that there are many reputable, honest, really good affordable housing builders, people like Tom Saffron, LA Family Housing, St. Joseph Center in Venice has now gotten into this. So we know that there's many really good people who are wholly focused on getting housing for people experiencing homelessness.
Okay. And what was the name of your organization again?
Interfaith Solidarity Network. I will put that.
Yeah, I'll check the email
and put it in the Facebook later as well.
Have you done any work with Larry Gross's group at all, or are they working with you on that at all, or Coalition for Economic Survival?
Oh, Larry Gross, yes. As a matter of fact, we held a Zoom event on exactly a month ago, as a matter of fact, with Larry and the major policy leaders in LA County and the city of LA who are all focused on this with Project Room Key and all of that. We had an LA Times reporter was the moderator for it. It was really quite a wonderful event. And we did that in partnership with Everyone In. I don't know if you're familiar with Everyone In. Everyone In is the kind of the arm of United Way that is focused on developing advocates for supportive housing, to be able to meet, all the NIMBYs, who are against building supportive housing in their neighborhoods. So this is an effort to find and train advocates who will be able to show up to those neighborhood council meetings in force and advocate.
Yeah, well, I can't be a NIMBY because I'm going to talk about there's land behind our house. It's an old school, and I think LAUSD owns it. I'm not sure. It's Collins Street School. Now, it's not a religious institution,
right?
But it's vacant. It's been vacant for a long time. And then over here at the Promenade, I think, that's closing down somewhat. I don't know what's going to happen with that, if there was any possibility of building affordable housing there or not, which is, again.
Well, that's where you have to get on top of Bob Blumenfield, because that's in CD3, I take it.
Yeah, he's my councilman.
Yeah, so that's where.
In fact, he lives down the block from us.
Yeah, that's where, he's a good guy. There's a lot of good people, but they just don't move quickly enough. And they need courage. And they get courage when a lot of people get behind them and get behind an idea and are vocal and are out in force and say, yeah, go Bob. Yeah. We're with you. Go for it.
They need the voters beneath their wings.
Absolutely.
And his idea of affordable housing is different from my idea of it.
Oh, his idea.
His idea is different from mine.
Yeah.
Because they're putting affordable housing units.
It can be, it's something that's malleable. It can be modified. So when you're trying to please too many people, and especially developers who want to make a big profit, then you're going to get into, you're going to slow down. These other developers that I know about, they've figured out how to make money and keep their operations going, but also really focus on supportive housing and surrounding people with the services that they need for sustainable lives. So anyway, I'll send you all this information.
Yeah, okay.
One quick question, Daniel. Yeah. Are you familiar with the West Valley People's Alliance?
I sure am. I'm very familiar. Pilar.
We have another meeting on
Pilar Chiavo. Yeah, I'm very familiar. Tom Booth, all those people. I'm very familiar with them. We're probably going to work together in one form or another. I'm really glad that that they exist, because they can go out and they can do all the, all the heavy-handed political, demonstrations and all of that, where what we do is really working mostly behind the scenes, just finding people who really believe, whose values are about love, compassion, mercy, justice, and just getting them involved as advocates.
Wow.
And who knows, we all may show up together one day and get arrested together. one day. It could still
Right.
happen.
They
Yeah.
don't do just protests, but they do have a meeting online at Saturday at 10 a.m.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you can just listen if you like, but
Yeah, I was part of the first one.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Mhm.
No, I think they're going to be a very, they're going to fill a real uh, uh, good space here in the valley.
Yeah. Okay.
Mike, do you
Well,
want to talk about the election as far as who can vote and
you mean the process?
yeah, or
Um,
where are we on the agenda? I'm sorry.
Pardon?
Where are we on the agenda?
We're kind of at the end.
Okay, we can talk about that, though. I hope we don't have to stretch it for 30 minutes.
Yeah, I know. Because normally we have the speaker speak for an hour, and and we've been meeting for about an hour, so that kind of fits. So, well, anyway, Teresa has been working earnestly with Mike Fox at PDA to get the blast out regarding the endorsement process. And, hopefully you've all got the blasts that have the link to Angelica's answers to her completed questionnaire. So you had a chance to look at it before our interview with her. And basically, we're following PDA's rules for chapter endorsements. And first of all, in order to be eligible to vote, you have to live in CD 29 and be on our national list for 60 days. So although a lot of us are in CD 30 and we can't vote, I think we're still interested in the CD 29 race, because we would like to see someone more progressive and certainly more responsive than Cárdenas in there. So
Daniel is in 29, Mark, Pat, and Pete. Anyone else? I think that's it. That's on now.
right. Okay, well, that's good. So, and I believe they've all been on. Well, go ahead and vote, and National will check that you've been on the list. National and Teresa will check that you've been on the list for 60 days.
Yeah, let me explain. If you are not getting the national emails, and I think Daniel doesn't think he is that right?
No, I am not. I know that I'm not, but I have been getting emails from you for a few years now.
What's been going on is I just have not coordinated the email list with National, because sometimes we get the same old people, and then other times there's one or two new ones, and I just have not followed up with National. So if you're on my email list, National will probably send me the email, or I'm giving them my list tomorrow. And so one way or another, we'll get you to vote.
Oh, well, okay. So I just want to be completely, stay within you've got ethical lines here that PDA has drawn, and I respect that. So I don't need to vote in this,
Okay.
I'm here mostly because I'm interested, because I live in this district.
Right.
And I really wanted, I was hoping Angelica was going to be on tonight to speak, because I really wanted to meet her. And I wanted to hear her for myself, so.
She had another meeting tonight. So she said she's going to be here at least by 8:30.
Okay.
So you will be able to.
I might just simply come back.
Yeah, that was our plan.
But Daniel, it's my fault that you're not on the national list. So I would rather that you do vote.
Okay, well, however you want to handle it, I'm good.
Yeah, Teresa's worked that out with Mike Fox at National. So they've kind of decided that if you've been on Teresa's list and it's just a matter, look, we're all time limited. So You know, we don't always do things as timely as we would like.
Right.
As Mike Fox says, in a perfect world, you know, they would have been submitted. So, but since Teresa had them, you know, we're recognized people that are in CD 29 that have been on her list for over 60 days.
That would be me.
Yeah, and because Cárdenas did not I mentioned this previously, but I'll repeat it. Because Cárdenas did not return the questionnaire, in order to be considered, the candidates have to complete the questionnaire. And it's got some very progressive, requires very progressive responses, which I don't know that Cárdenas would necessarily have met anyway. But, and that would be something the voters would have to decide. But like I said, he did not return his questionnaire, so we only got one from Angelica, which the link to it has been sent out in blast, and it will continue to be online. So if you haven't looked at it, you could even look at it now, or you could look at it after the meeting. And
it was also attached to my last email, so all of you online should have gotten it.
right,
I
yeah,
had
that's right.
copy.
Yeah, some people just got the attachment instead of a link to it. And so one way or another, you should be able to access it. And since there's only one candidate running, in order to get the endorsement, she has to get 60% of the vote of the people voting. So, and the way the vote is going to be handled is that after the meeting, it may take a few hours or possibly a day or so. Teresa and Mike Fox will send out blasts with a link to the
Just Mike.
voting. Pardon?
Just Mike.
Oh, just, okay, Mike Fox will, because he'll have the complete list to send it out to by that time. And he'll send out a link to where you can vote. And once he sends it out, you'll have 72 hours from the time he sends it out to vote. So that gives you some time to make sure you find the time to vote. So that's how the process works.
So Mike wants to wait till this video is posted online, so someone who wasn't able to come here or come on at this time can see what Angelica says. And so that should happen tomorrow. So Mike Fox is thinking that he'll be sending out the emails either Friday or Saturday. So you should look for it this weekend. And as soon as you get it, turn around and vote.
Yeah. Or think about it and make sure you do it within 72 hours. Yeah.
So the
now the plan was, and it still is, it's just going to be later than usual, is that she'll come, make some opening remarks, and then, if you have any questions, which I'm assuming you will, then we'll have a question and answer period with her. So that's the plan. So I don't know, is she gonna just show up on Zoom, Teresa?
So. Hopefully I'll be able to figure out how to let her in.
Okay. Is Mike Thaler gone? I mean, I see he's connected, but I think he's at his other meeting.
I'm not gone. What's up?
Oh no,
we were just having casual conversation.
Okay.
We were just saying that hopefully I'll be able to let people in because
there's nobody to let in.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Over and out.
All right.
Okay. Well, I'm surprised he was still there. That was good. Yeah. Anyway, so do any of you have any comments or issues or anything that you're interested in or want to talk about? I mean, do you disagree with us on, or agree with us on, or are happy about or unhappy about, or anything like that? I mean, there's plenty to be unhappy about. Are we all keeping positive and hopeful, or are we running out of air and speed for that?
Are you talking to me?
I'm talking to all of you.
Go for it, Shirley.
It's 8:15, and right now Teresa and I are kind of killing time because, like I said, we didn't have an agenda beyond our normal 1 hour agenda. So, yeah, Dan?
I just want to say I'm feeling very energized by all the anti-racism conversation that's going on. I've never seen it like this in the spaces that I move in. It's continual. It's like it's nonstop. I mean, I move in circles of white people who
Right.
are looking at themselves in a way they have never looked at themselves before.
Yeah, I've read a couple times where they said things are not going to really change about racism until you get white people involved. And that's what's
Completely.
happening. That's what you're saying.
Well, unless you're willing to acknowledge and own white supremacy,
Yeah.
and I'll speak for myself and how I, as a progressive, open-minded, loving, open-hearted, spiritual person, has bought into white supremacy just in my growing up. I mean, it's, in my opinion, it's in all of us to one extent or another, and we don't even know it. And I'm reading this book now called White Fragility by Robin DiAngelo. And her contention is that when you bring this issue up among white people, the first thing is defensiveness. Like, oh, well, that's not me, because, you know, that's somebody else. Oh, and also that's not my problem. That's like their problem. That's like, you know, so if somebody else wants, for me, politically, racism, race and everything, as a political person, always, like, it was like at the bottom of my list, because my feeling was, I only have so much energy, I only have so much time. This doesn't really concern me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I'm probably
That's
the
how
same.
I felt.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's a lie, you know. And the fact is, it concerns all of us. So I'm just really energized by the amount to which people are sort of moving through this with some humility and some understanding, and going, oh, you know what? I got to cop to that and find out, where have I kept things, where have I perpetuated this system?
Yeah.
It's good. It's healthy.
Yeah.
And it's about damn time.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else have any comments? Teresa, Bruce, Pat and Pete, I think you're still on. Shirley kind of stepped away. And Mark, if you have anything. So.
Well, along those same lines that Daniel was talking about, I used to be a regular sub with the LA Philharmonic. My wife's a contract member with them. And we were on tour in, may have been Lucerne, I can't remember. And the principal percussionist at the time, his name was Rainer Carroll. He was African American, unbelievable player, really smart guy. And he comes up to me in the concert hall and he goes, "Oh, could you go backstage and ask one of the stagehands to bring out 3 chairs for the percussion section back here, because we're going to need them." I said, "Oh, okay." He said, I've asked them 3 times and nothing. So I went backstage, asked once, and in 10 seconds they were out there with the chairs.
Yep.
And maybe it was in Austria, not Lucerne. Anyway, walking back to the buses after the rehearsal, I was talking to the timpanist who was my teacher for many years, and I told him the story, and he said to me, "You know, Austria is an amazing place, but there are still a lot of people that think the only thing Hitler did wrong was lose the war." And this guy was like 75 years old at the time, so he came up through that whole era, and anyway, but like you, Daniel, I'm quite aware of my white privilege and feel like feel really good that this stuff is coming out now, and maybe some equality will work its way into you know the Black and Hispanic and Asian communities, as well as Native Americans.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the systemic nature of racism, that can like almost only be really handled on the federal level, just in terms of laws. I mean, we have real estate practices locally and we have state laws, but it's really the federal level where we really get into systemic racism that's baked into federal laws. You know, we've made progress. I mean, the Civil Rights Act was a tremendous thing. That was 1965, you know,
Yeah.
and what's his name? Trump has been trying to roll all of this stuff back. And the voting rights is a huge issue too. So,
Well, the
so we've
Supreme
got our
Court,
work cut out for us.
yeah, the Supreme Court nullified some of the Voting Rights Act, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're moving backwards. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're, like I just heard today on the radio that Ohio, the Secretary of State wants to have one polling place for each county. So if you have just a few thousand people, or if you have a few million people, you get one polling place.
Right.
And who does that affect? People with
Yeah.
lower income, with less means, the less ability to be able to, who are maybe working harder, working later, can't leave their jobs or they're going to get fired. You know, I mean, it's really, it's out and out racist.
Yeah.
Well, you know, the election fraud as opposed to voter fraud by, you know, the states controlled by Republicans has been going on for, you know,
Right.
probably really got started with the Bush election. But, you know, there's been a lot of, you know, Greg Palast writes a lot about that.
Uh-huh. Yep.
You know, but they're talking about it expanding and reducing the number of polling places is one way of doing it. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's just, I don't know, it's going to be a mess in some of these states during the general election, I'm afraid.
Well, where we can still push for vote by mail, we need to do that.
Yeah.
For some places, vote by mail is not practical. But in many, many places, it's great. It's the best thing.
Yeah.
So whatever we can do to keep on with that fight, you know, and get this guy out of there, get this guy
Yeah.
out of there on November 3rd. And then really a whole other level and layer of work begins again, right? You know?
James,
Yeah.
are you James Garrett? Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry. Hello.
Hi, are you James Garrett?
Yes.
Great. We're just talking about issues that people want to talk about. We kind of finished the agenda and we're waiting for Angelica to show up. And she said she'd be on pretty soon. So we're hoping about 8:30.
Okay. How does she stand in the district?
As far as,
I mean, is she? Does she have a chance to beat Tony Cárdenas?
I don't know. But if you'd asked me about AOC a few months earlier, I would have not known either.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that, to be honest with you, it's probably an uphill battle, but you never know. And that would be a good question to ask her.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
From what
I
I
mean-
know, oh, go ahead. From what
Well,
I know,
obviously she doesn't have the money, but that doesn't necessarily mean she's. She just needs to have name recognition, right? I mean, people to know about her, essentially.
She needs a
Yes.
lot of people to go out there and really support her and make phone calls and, have her come to meetings and stuff. You're going to say something, Mark? Where are you?
Yeah, by and large, she needs a team of really dedicated volunteers that are going to do phone banking aplenty and you can't really knock on doors, but putting leaflets on door handles. And I think Alan Minsky in one of the last meetings that we had online said that he went to some website where he could find out information, and Cárdenas has like a 500 grand in his war chest, and I think Angelica, he said, like, had 10,000. And but again, it depends. AOC was able to pull it off against the third highest ranking member in the Democratic Party with people that were just dedicated to getting the word out. And it's going to be, like Mike said, even more uphill given COVID-19 and not being able to actually canvass in person. But I think if they can get a big enough phone bank thing and get leaflets out, and maybe postcards in the mail. I helped her with postcards for a while, and anyhow, it's going to be an uphill battle. But that's getting a PDA endorsement would be great. I'm trying to get her endorsed by Local 47 of the Musicians Union. They formed a PAC with Jefferson Kemper, and I'm trying to work with him to get the union ended up supporting Bernie Sanders in the primaries. So I'm thinking that it shouldn't be too hard to get them to support, because their two major issues at Local 47 is Medicare for All and climate emergency. So
and Jamal, what's Jamal's last name? The one
Bowman.
Who?
Bowman.
Yeah, he pulled an AOC and beat Elliot Engel. So maybe
that's right.
She can pull an AOC and defeat.
Well, I was gonna try to reach out to her to the squad pack and see if they could get them or her to endorse Angelica, because she was a Bernie delegate, and Angelica was just like touring all around with Bernie during the primary. So I'm trying to get in contact with them to like because she threw her support about that with that person in Illinois, right? That beat the Democratic incumbent. I can't remember what his name was or what.
Oh, yeah, the really bad one.
Yeah. So
anyway, her name is Marie Newman.
That's right.
I can't think of his name.
Well, there probably needs to be a lot of community organizing, and yeah, I mean, it's hard, like you say, under COVID, what kind of strategy you can do at this time. Like you say, door to door, people are probably scared to have anybody approach them. Yeah,
plus,
it's a difficult one.
A lot of people won't even answer their doors if they're not home.
Or their phones.
Yeah.
I mean, the only other thing, but I guess you can't do it, is over the neighborhood email network. I guess you're not supposed to do political stuff, huh? I don't know.
We can do Facebook ads, and those are relatively reasonable. Just think, though, what it would mean to the district if they had Medicare for all.
Yeah.
If they had Green New Deal. And he's not on either one of those bills.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't even have town hall meetings, does he?
He had one. I was there.
Oh, yeah?
It was like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, well,
Oh,
that's about it, right?
that was the one at the elementary school, right?
Yeah.
Named after the United Farm Workers guy.
Mr. Chavez?
And it was at school.
Yeah,
You were there too, Mark?
yeah, I was. I even asked him a question about climate change and got a crummy answer from him.
Yeah, what did
He
he
was really
say?
good that day on immigration. He was very supportive
Yeah.
of
Well,
immigration.
he was all about how important it was, with like no actual ideas about how to proceed forward. It was just like, yeah, that's a very important thing, very serious stuff, and something's going to be needed to be done about that, and then it's over.
Do you mention that when you visit his office that he should have town halls?
No, I haven't. But given what you said, Teresa, um, I've also heard other people say, I don't know if it was PDA people, that people running against incumbents in the same party should try to do a town hall in an area in their district and like post leaflets. And I don't know how many people would show up if Angelica would just be speaking to an empty room. But
Oh, she's here. Hang on.
Oh, okay.
Let me admit her.
Looks like Sarah Burns just joined us. Angelica.
Angelica, you here? There you are. We've been talking about you.
Hi guys, sorry I'm late.
Okay, we've got several
Talking
people
about you behind your back.
waiting for you. Sorry.
That's okay. As long as you're talking about me.
You want to do a 10-minute overview and then go for questions, or whatever you feel like?
Sure. Oh, my name is Angelica Dueñas. Thank you so much for having me. I am running for Congress in California's 29th Congressional District. And I've talked to, I could say, most of you guys before, so very nice to see everybody again. I'm glad that people are staying at home and following the guidelines, just like we are. I miss everybody. I miss seeing people in person, and I'm looking forward to being in the same room together one day soon. I am running for Congress because I believe in Medicare for all. I believe in a Green New Deal, which bold climate action. I believe that affordable housing is a human right. I believe that quality education is also a human right. And I believe that we need to get money out of politics. And also, I am running because nobody else is that believes in these issues that we care about, progressive issues. And I am running with an amazing group of people, my team, that have been working very, very hard. People that pay attention to numbers and races. Looking at the primary race, we were not supposed to have made it through because of the little bit of funding that we had with $10,000. We were able to get through the primary. In previous years, we had the Democratic challengers spending upwards to $40,000 and not being able to beat the Republican. So I think it speaks volumes in regards to what's happening in our district. Our district is progressive and looking for change. Tony Cárdenas has been around since 1996 at one level or another. He's been representing our community. He was assemblyman for 8 years, city councilman for 10 years, and now Congress for 8 years. And our community has nothing to show for it other than blight and the reality that we are being left behind. So I do believe that Tony Cárdenas has had the opportunity to make a real impact in our community at all levels of government. And it is very clear to see that that's not his priority. Priority number one are his funders, the corporatists, the big corporations, big pharma. all of these dirty industries that put profits before people. I believe that people come first. And this is why I'm running. I'm running because I believe that it's time that we have someone in office that's willing to speak truth to power, that is willing to really stand up for the people, and who has not been, their message doesn't get diluted with corporate money. So that's why I'm running, and that's why I'm here. And I do believe that our community is very much looking for that. And as some of you may know, this is my second run. In 2018, I did run Green Party. So, which may turn some people on, may turn some people off, but that it's the truth. And I'm very, very honest. And in reality, like it 0.3% of the population of the registered voter was green, okay, in 2018. And we were able to get 6.5% of the vote. So if you look at it that way, not to say that I'm an amazing candidate, but to say that my community, my district is really looking for some change, to the point that gave the green girl a chance, right? So it really speaks volumes of just how tangible, how realistic winning district really is. We have spoken to a lot of people, and people either don't know who Tony is, he's been around since 1996, or they don't like him. There's no in between. So this is an opportunity that we really can't give up. It's something that, unlike other districts, this is not a district that we can, it's not going to go red. It can only get better. And so I really would hope that I can earn your support, and that we can really show District 29 that we deserve better. Thank you.
Did your district go for Bernie or Biden in the primary?
Bernie.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
So Teresa, do you have a question, and do you want to kind of take over and watch for people if they have questions and call on them and kind of moderate?
Oh, wait.
Do you want to do that, or do you want me to?
Go ahead, because I'm kind of admitting people. Mimi just came on.
Oh, okay, good. All right.
And just while we're waiting for that, I just want to say, Mark, I'm so happy to see you. I miss you so much. And I'm glad to see you. I look sporting it. That's nice. I like it. I like it. You pull it nicely. You pull it off nicely.
All right.
So
Well,
what was the question?
Teresa,
Daniel's got his hand up.
Angelica, my name is Daniel Tam. I'm really happy to meet you. I was looking forward to this. How are you mobilizing Bernie's supporters who, Bernie won the district? How are you mobilizing Bernie's supporters in supporting your campaign and getting out the vote?
Mm-hmm. So as you are all very familiar, how grassroots campaigns work, our forte, our strength is going door to door, right? Talking to people. So things have changed with COVID and the restrictions. So we really moved our plans and our strategy to making phone calls, text messaging, social media, and emails. So we are completely set up for phone banking and emails. So those are emails haven't started going out yet, but we just finalized that. But phone banking is all set up. So if you guys are wanting to give us a hand, please join us. We are already sending out postcards, which we have handwritten postcards. We have volunteers writing why they believe in my campaign and our campaign, and why they should support me and us in this challenge. Oh, sorry. And why they should support us. So there's postcards already going out. And we will be doing what we call a no-knock canvassing or soft canvassing, where we have door hangers and we have identified the households. So we want to make a contact with, even if it's a no-knock contact. We're going to have our volunteers ready with PPE, with masks and gloves, and everybody's going to feel safe. And we're ready for that, and people are very excited. And if you're following us on social media or not, our yard signs are also in the works. And so if you are in District 29 and would like a yard sign, please, reach out to us. So we've moved on to basically digital, right? We have our ads also going. We're creating content. But we will be doing soft canvas. So a no-knock canvas is coming.
Are you doing texting?
Yes.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, actually, we did that during the primary. During the primary, we were not able to get the email set up at all. So imagine that we were able to do all of this with no email whatsoever. Okay, this was all texting and door knocking, and I'll be honest, we were not able to knock in half as many doors that we were really wanting to, because everybody was there was so many campaigns going on that we were thinned out on volunteers. It's different story now. We have an influx of volunteers, and we're having a hard time actually creating work fast enough, so for people to be able, because they're like, okay, done. So, we're actually having the opposite problem, which is a nice problem to have.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Good. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Anyone else have a question?
Can I get a yard sign?
Yes. Get two.
Okay. One for the front yard and the backyard?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, both for the front yard. I'll put it for you. Don't worry.
Mimi, did you have a question?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I joined late, Angelica. I missed almost everything. How do I access your websites and your, what?
Absolutely. Yes, angelicaforcongress.com is the website. If you do the for, if you do FOR, either one will get you to my website. And all the information is there, how to volunteer. If you want a yard sign, just shoot me an email or shoot me a text. And we'll get it for you. And all of our social media, you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And by looking my name up, Angelica Dueñas, or Angelica, the number 4CA, Angelica 4CA, and that'll totally get you to all of our social media.
Okay. Yeah. And then can I contact you for any kind of materials?
Absolutely. Please do.
There.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
My phone number, my number is 818-962-8392. It's on my Facebook page. It's on the website. It's everywhere. You guys can find me.
And she'll actually talk
and
to
then
you.
my phone will ring if you call it right now. I'm like, I don't know if I turned off my ringer, but.
Also, on the blasts that were sent out, I think the link to the website is there.
Perfect. Thank you.
We have that also.
I'm sure people have probably asked all these questions, but I'm just wondering, since it's down to you and Cárdenas, do you guys cross paths? Have you crossed paths?
The last time I crossed paths with Tony was at the ADEM election. When he came in to vote for his peeps, and his staffers were helping people fill out ballots, which was nice, and I believe against the rules. But,
wow. Who's your assembly member? Are you in
Luz Rivas?
Is it?
Who?
Luz Rivas.
Sorry.
Is he willing to debate you at all, or
I'm willing to debate him. I'm willing to debate.
Well, I figured that.
him. I would love to answer questions. If there's no debate, I'm for it. I've actually reached out to the League of Women Voters. I don't know if they wanted to, but I've offered them that I'm totally open to it. The next who we're gonna hit up is gonna be the neighborhood councils to see if they're wanting to host one. To see if I was part of my neighborhood council, the Sun Valley Neighborhood Council. I'm sure if they can team up with at least a couple more, especially now with everything's on Zoom, I would think it would be so easy for us to set something up. My experience, it's been actually that most of the meetings, club meetings, and other things that I've been invited to, that both of us were invited to, or both were offered the ability to participate, he has not. His campaign has not. there was only one club meeting that they actually sent a representative to, which was the Democratic Club of Pasadena Foothills, I believe, or something along those lines. That's the only one that they sent a representative to. And I've been to quite a few in the last year.
I have another question, but I don't know how to, I know Mike was in there before.
Mike, did you have a question or?
Yeah, I had raised my hand in the chat thing and also here.
Go ahead.
Well, you know, the focus right now seems to be so much on domestic policy. You know, the Green New Deal, Medicare for all, social justice, institutionalized racism, all of the police murders of Black people. But we kind of lose track of foreign policy. And I was just wondering what your thoughts were, say, for example, on, and it really goes before Trump, you know, on US policy towards Venezuela. If you had any thoughts on that at all, and if you, what you really think the real reason is that we were, you know, trying to undermine Chavez and now Maduro.
Well, I think what it is, it's probably a mixture of things. It's a little bit of like, you know, socialism. I think that, you know, the United States, the imperialistic system that we're living, you know, we are part of. It is in our, not us, obviously not everybody here in this room, but like, you know, it's in our country's best interest to squash any sort of socialist country and to just like, especially in Latin America or any, you know, what some third world area or developing country, okay? They don't want, or we don't want any of those experiments to work, okay? That's one part of it. Another part of it, I feel, is, you know, where there's rich resources, you know, we want to help them with their democracy, right? Like whenever there's like, all of a sudden there's like lots of oil or like, you know, minerals, all of a sudden we really care about this country's democracy. It's a little bit of that. Quite honestly, like, I think it's really ironic because, you know, paying attention to all of this, I really started, you know, researching and looking at Venezuela's elections. And quite frankly, if we can actually adopt how they do their elections, it would almost, I mean, it would basically obliterate any thoughts of like, you know, election fraud. You know what I mean? Like they're probably, I mean, from as far as I have a degree in political science. I have a bachelor's degree in political science. And from all of the, you know, countries and election systems that I've studied, Venezuela's was actually one of like the most like strictly was like you put your thumbprint on the way in, you put the thumbprint on the way out. Like there's no questions asked, like as far as like who cast this vote. And the fact that they flip over the vote and they count them there in front of you, you know what I mean? And people can witness the votes. Like that is like what we should be doing. It should be paper ballots. It should be all of that good stuff. So why Venezuela? I think similar to like, you know, why do we sanction, you know, Cuba? Why are we messing with all of these other countries in South America? It's because it is in our best interest to ensure that no socialist experiment is functional, or for people to really see it as a realistic option, by literally either messing with their economy or, you know, creating a coup or facilitating coups and removing their leaders.
Yeah, well, you know, I tend to agree with you. I've been saying that anyone who thinks that the United States government cares about democracy is delusional, because we overthrow democratically elected governments. And I think you make a good point on the socialism thing. I can't remember the quote, but I think that was some of the commentary that they picked up on with Nixon when they overthrew Allende. So I think they don't want any socialist governments to be successful.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. They don't want, well, I mean, they'll leave the European, you know, experiments alone as long as they play ball, right? Like, and at this point, there's no real socialist you know, they're a mixed economy. So, I mean, as long as they're able to play ball with us or what have you, they're okay with it. So it's very interesting how they're very selective as well, too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mimi?
Yeah, that, thank you for those answers. So I want to expand into that. What do you think the most salient issue is that you would be able to what do you clash with what you know about Tony Cárdenas's positions? What would be your favorite issue to discuss with him? And a part of that would be who in Congress now has the kind of policy positions and kind of the platform, public persona platform, if you will, that you would like to align with, if anyone.
Well, I think one of the most important issues to me, I think to all of us, is Medicare for all. That is actually a super important issue to me. My dad got diagnosed with cancer when he was not Medicare age yet, and all of the stuff that he had to deal with to get the care, quality care, and to be able to afford it, it was a nightmare. Wow. And I've seen so many people suffer without it and not seek out medical care because of the fear of how much it's going to cost and what's going to cause their family to go through. So I think that's one of the most important issues to me personally as to why I'm running, period.
He's only for the public option, right? He is
that's as best as it gets in that regard. I mean, it should also be noted that his number one funder is Big Pharma. He takes money from like all the big insurers, and he has not even taken a real meeting with Medicare for All activists. Like he's taken like partial group meeting, which I believe Mark was a part of, where a question was asked, you know, and like always, we're looking into it, we're researching it, like, well, you know, think about it, and it's nothing. So I think that that's one of those things that I would love to be able to talk to him about. Like, honestly, I really don't care who gets us all of these things that we're fighting for. Like, it doesn't have to be me. Like, it doesn't have to be anybody in particular. Like, we just need them. And so that's one of those main issues that I would love to discuss with Tony, to try and convince him. And who would I kind of identify with? Maybe like the squad, right? Like AOCs and
Rashida
and Omar and, you know, the girls, I guess.
Yeah.
Ayanna Pressley.
Ayanna Pressley, right? Yeah. I mean, I think that we align on the important issues. Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Great.
James, did you want to ask a question since you're in the district?
Well, I'd like to say that it sounds like this guy, he's a career politician, obviously, and there's a few of them out there. So, and I've been in this district for, I mean, I've lived here for about over 30 years, and I've been in this area for most of my life. So, as far as I can tell, this guy doesn't do anything for me.
Nothing.
And he does need to be, somebody to run against him, and I'm glad it's you.
Yeah.
If there's something I can do to help you, I would. I mean, unfortunately, I'm going through some surgery and stuff. So, but I'll get out there, you know, sometime in, maybe I'll contact your office and get a sign put up in my front yard.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I can do that.
I did meet Rashid, and she's a very lovely woman. And I can see some similarities in your whole persona. So
thank you. She is my favorite. I'll tell you that. I appreciate that.
Pat and Pete, would you like to ask a question?
Oh, they're on mute. We can't hear you.
Oh,
okay. I will make a comment about Mr. Cárdenas. We had to contact him a few years back regarding finding some lost packages through the post office that was sent up to Alaska for our daughter. And they didn't really do anything. And it was very tragic because there were personal things that were in it that we needed to get back. So that kind of told me right there that he wasn't out for the public, not for people.
They have a hard time following up and just answering simple questions. I've actually been calling his office since Monday, trying to get an answer on a constituent, which let me tell you guys a little tea on that. So we found out that the congressman's office has gotten services and they don't pay their bills. And so they have a small business person who is, you know, kind of like making that known. And I actually got on the phone with him, and I'm going to wait for all the evidence to come out. But there's a shady business going down out of like the congressman's office. Not just like he's useless and stuff. Like there's like, I mean, I'm not a legal expert, but there's like some criminal activity that's happening there. So we're hoping to be able to get, you know, some more information, put it together. And in fact, we might, I mean, we're moving it to the press. So I'm hoping that, you know, we'll see a news story on this soon.
Sarah, did you have a question?
Unmute.
Sarah?
She might be muted.
I'm trying to get all the district people.
Oh, so what is unmute on the phone, like star something?
Star 6, I think.
Star 6, I think. Yeah, I think star 6 is mute and unmute, and star 9 is raise your hand.
No, you just tap below the picture and it'll come up and you just unmute it.
Actually, Sarah is unmuted.
Oh, maybe she's muted on her own phone.
Maybe she stepped away from it.
Yeah, she might have stepped away.
Yeah.
We got 1 or 2 more questions and then we'll probably wrap up. Anybody have anything? Mark?
I pretty much know where Angelica stands on everything.
Oh, okay.
She was kind enough to speak with me for an hour and 45 minutes years ago.
Oh my gosh.
Near the subway station in North Hollywood.
Sarah's got her hand up now. Go ahead, Sarah.
Yeah, I have Sarah here. She can't figure out why her phone won't
This
unmute.
was just foreign policy, right?
On my end. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Angelica, yes. You were appointed a delegate for the first Bernie campaign in 2016, right?
Yes.
Could you explain a little bit about how you were appointed? And everyone on this call, and I'm sure many thousands of us in the district, really don't feel that Tony Cárdenas is doing a good job. We haven't felt that way for a long time. But what makes you special? You know, why you? Actually, you answered that in a way. You said anybody could do a better job than he's doing. But could you tell us something about, you know, why you think you do a good job, and when you converted from the Green Party to, are you have any party affiliation now, or are you?
I'm a Democrat.
You're a Democrat now. Okay. Could you talk to us a little bit about that?
Sure. Okay. So full transparency, when I turned 18, I was no party preference. I was actually independent for like 14 plus years. So most of my life, I've been no party preference. In 2015, when Bernie Sanders decided to run for president, I was given some hope in the electoral system. So even though I held a bachelor's in political science, maybe that's why, I just didn't really have much faith in the electoral system. I was more thinking like local activism is really the way. But, you know, with Bernie Sanders running for president, I thought, and he was actually running on this platform of the issues that and he was able to formalize it and really word it so passionately and so perfectly that he was expressing so many things that we were all feeling, that I really, you know, got turned on back into politics, right? And so I decided that I was going to do anything and everything to get this man elected. And so, I was doing my own thing and, doing my own outreach through social media, what have you. And then the delegate call came out, and me along with a bunch of colleagues, including Marlene Medrano, which I think a lot of you guys know, ran for district delegate. She won the #1 female position. I was like down to 5th. So I was like not even having an option. But the main scare, I think, with all of us was like the scare was like, oh, fake progressives are going to run. Like people who are not progressives or people who are actually Hillary Clinton supporters are going to run for these seats. That was the fear. So once I got to know the people who ran, I was feeling very comfortable that, okay, these are Bernie people. Like there's no worry there. The Bernie campaign came on the ground around the same time and actually worked to get us together. And I had started organizing as a group with CD29 people. And so we went, and then eventually there was the second round of delegates, at large and Pleo. At large is basically to fill in any gaps that they're missing. So we need more young people, we need more people of color, we need more LGBTQ, whatever like they might be lacking for diversity. At large comes through. And then the Pleo delegates is party leader, elected official. So these are a set number of seats that each candidate gets based on their votes. And so I was part of my neighborhood council at the time, which made me technically an elected official. And that is how I qualified for the delegate seat. So, when the calls came, I was selected. And in July of 2016 at the Long Beach state meeting, I was confirmed a Pleo delegate. Interestingly enough, I am also again a Pleo delegate in 2020. So I am also again a delegate for Bernie Sanders. And so we went to the DNC in Philadelphia. It was quite an experience. I don't think I have ever personally experienced the level of abuse and just vileness in my face. I've experienced it online, but never in my face like I did at the DNC from fellow Democrats, people who were throwing things at us, who were spitting at us, who were pushing us, who were stealing our seats. You know what I mean? Who were just like telling us to our face that we don't belong here. You don't belong here. That was quite an experience, and which left quite a heavy feeling in my heart and in my whole person. A couple of weeks later, campaign, and me being from California and understanding the electoral college works, and that regardless of who the candidate was going to, the presidential candidate was going to be, California's going to go blue. So I decided that I was open to help the Jill Stein campaign achieve the 5% of the vote, where if a third party were to get 5% of the vote in the presidential race, they would qualify for federal funding. So basically, if let's say Jill Stein would have gotten 5% of the vote in 2016, the Green Party would have qualified for funds this time around. Why do I believe that that's important? Well, I believe that the Democratic Party has lost their way. Okay, they say a lot of things but do other, and I believe the reason for that is because there is no. It's kind of like they know where they know where they got us. Okay, they got us where they want us, which is in a position that third parties have no viability. They've been practically obliterated ever since the 80s, when the Women's League of Voters stopped doing presidential debates. We haven't heard anything from third party, right, since Perot or something, and he was an independent. So we haven't heard anything if they don't exist. In fact, I got a degree in political science and they never covered third parties. Can you believe that? Bachelor's degree in political science, they never covered third party whatsoever, as though they don't exist. So this is the system that we live in. Purple for institutions to change. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen oh, okay, sure, let's concede. You need to challenge it, and you need to believe that strengthening the third party on the left is something that would be very valuable in getting the Democratic Party, because let's face it, we live in a duopoly, so it's the Democrats and the Republicans, right? And to get the Democratic Party to really take the people seriously and to take our demands seriously. And we're seeing that, you know, back in 2016, Pelosi made it very clear, do not concede to Black Lives Matter. We will not, don't say yes, do not. So, okay, that's cute. That's not what we're looking for. We need real, tangible, and real, we need our demands to be met. And the only way to do that is by challenging the powers that be. And we're seeing it right now where, you know, you have our elected officials who are avoiding the people, and we're coming to their house. You know, we're coming to their house, and that's where it's at. So we need to challenge, and we need to fight for these changes. And that's the reason why I did go green for a while. I did my best to try and organize within the Green Party and to try and see if there was a viable option there. I respect everybody who's working within the third parties and to strengthen, whether it's Green Party, whether it's Movement for People's Party, whether it's Peace. However, I also believe that right now we're in a very dangerous time, and we don't have time. I don't have time right now. I need to work on seeking and accessing power, because I believe that by accessing and having the power, then you can make changes happen. And so I would like to be able to use my power as a congresswoman to make some tangible changes happen. So I did come back to be Democrat, late 2018. I went back to being a Democrat. So I've been a Democrat back again. And the reason for it is because I understand that it's a very important time, and we knew that Bernie Sanders was going to be running for president again, and so we wanted to make sure that we can do anything and everything in our power to ensure, or to, you know, try our very best to get, you know, Bernie Sanders the nomination, and if he got the nomination, to be able to make all the changes happen as a unified team, right? But here we are. It's the reason why I'm doing this is for the issues. I'm issues based. I am not a party loyalist. I believe that parties are a tool, and you know, we need to utilize all the tools in our toolbox right now. And strategy is what really matters. And I think that there will be some areas, for example, in the country where having a progressive run as a Republican might be like the smart thing to do, the strategic thing to do. So I believe that what we really need to do is be strategic, seek out power, and utilize that power to make real changes happen, to bring power back.
Thank you. You want to give us just a short list of who's endorsed you, and then we'll wrap it up, I think.
Let me get.
And we're having a little trouble. You have a bandwidth
We have
problem.
a few. Yeah, oh no. Hopefully it'll keep it together long enough. Hold on. I'll tell you right now.
It interrupts every once in a while, so.
Okay, I'll tell you right now. And hopefully my phone will get enough internet. Sorry, I should.
Well, I know North Valley Democratic Club has endorsed you.
Yes, North Valley Democratic Club has endorsed me. Our Revolution, Santa Clarita, Our Revolution, Los Angeles, Sunrise Movement Los Angeles, Demand Universal Health Care, also known as DUH, Americans for Democratic Action, a group called Progressive Candidates, Progressive Asian Network for Action, North Valley Dem Club, and we don't have them on here. I think it's a Democratic Club of Pasadena Foothills. Ankur Patel, which I believe most of you know, he's a former candidate for the State Assembly 45, and you know he ran for school board, and he's just awesome. I'm sure we all know him. Betty Dumas Toto, who is a Medicare for All champion, who worked for Bernie Sanders campaign. She's a co-chair of Feel the Burn Democratic Club. She's an all-around just rock star. CJ Barina, who ran for Congress in the 30th. Stephen Jaffe, who actually ran for Congress in the 12th Congressional District back in 2018. And Joaquin Vasquez, who actually ran for Congress in the 53rd District down in San Diego, who ran a very amazing primary. And I think there's a couple more that I'm missing, but off the top of my website, that's where we're at.
All right, great.
Did DSA endorse you?
DSA, they have this policy that they strictly only officially endorse 2 candidates. So, and the primary, they endorsed Bernie Sanders and Nithya. Since Bernie, you know, suspended his campaign, there's that coveted second spot that we're hoping to get. They haven't made a decision yet, but we did make it into the recommendations list. So we were recommended by DSA for the primary.
That's great. Okay.
I should maybe mention too, I am a elected member. I'm going to be sworn in on Saturday of the Los Angeles County Democratic Party Central Committee.
Oh, wow. Okay. Mike Thaler, you can turn off the recording, I think. And if I'm still co-hosting, we could talk a little bit. And is that right? I don't think he hears me. Oh, he's on the other meeting. Oh, wow. All right. Did you want to say anything else, Angelica, or?
Got muted somehow. No, just thank you so much for having me. I know it's late for everybody, and I appreciate, I had another meeting beforehand, and it was actually for a lot more tea that I could spill with you guys. It was a forum for folks who are running for like the chair officers who are running for officer positions for the LA County Democratic Party Central Committee,
Oh.
Including Mark Gonzalez, right, who's the current chair or whatever the position is, captain of the LA County Democratic Club and or party. And he did not show up. He said he was going to show up. He did not show up. You know what was interesting? We were setting it up, and they were waiting for, like, when is the final date and time, This is a little sketchy. They got the date and time, then people, like 10 minutes later, 10 minutes later, got an email that they're having their forum on the exact same day, the exact same time.
Oh dear.
And so they were not able to make it to us, which was like the progressive, county elected folks that have wanted to hear him out. And he was a no-show. And his meeting ended at 7:30. So we had another candidate show up, but not him.
All
so
right.
That's just interesting. It's just like, it just goes to show that that's another example that the Democratic Party is not really looking to listen to the people. They were trying to do like their top down, this is our slate, and just an announcement of who you should vote for versus really answering questions and concerns of the constituents.
Yeah.
Shirley has a question over there.
Oh, does she?
No. Oh.
Shirley, you have a question? Or where is she?
I think she said no, but.
Okay. All righty. All right, I guess that's it. I think Shirley's waving goodnight.
Yeah, okay.
All right, well, thank you everyone for going a little bit late, and we'll see you in a month.